how good's this? I'm kicking back with a beer in my shed at the moment. Now, four-wheel drive action has always been about the four-wheel drive community. We're four-wheel drivers first and foremost, and I'd like to think that we are in touch with our community. Now, so we thought, what better way to hear from you than actually ask, what questions do you have about four-wheel drive action? So we jumped onto our social media pages, in particular the four-wheel drive action Instagram page and my Instagram page, and let me tell you, absolutely bowled over with the response. There was over 2,000 questions in combination on those two pages about what sort of vehicles we drive, a little bit more information about them, about some of the stuff that might happen behind the scenes on a four-wheel action shoot. Well, we've picked a bunch of the best ones. I want to go through them tonight and answer them as truthfully as I can. Now, because I'm in a pretty generous mood, I've got a beer in the hand, I'm in my own shed right now, I thought, far out, let's give away a couple of prizes. If I read your question out, you'll win yourself a shirt of your choice from Snatch, as well as a sticker pack. So that's a pretty cool little prize, and there's going to be one bit bigger prize as well. So for the best question, I think overall, you're going to win yourself one of these camo hoodies. Now, these are super warm, but yeah, you'll love this one. So let's get into it. First up, I've actually printed, this is how organised I am, and here we go. The first question, Jake Muesli, or Muesli, it might be pronounced Muesli. Jake Muesli, what's done to the engine in Sooty? What's done to the engine in Sooty? Well, not that much real, a little bit. Okay, let's go through it. So it's a 1HDT diesel. That's a factory turbo diesel in the 80 series. I've got a 3-inch exhaust all the way through on that one, a high flow turbo from MTQ, a water to air intercooler. It's got a custom airbox from Moonlight Fabrications, as well as one of the Moonlight Fabrications 4-inch stainless steel snorkels. So it's a great little rig. It sounds awesome. It goes really well as well. At the moment, I'm only running a conservative like 10 to 12 PSI. So that's, I've had it up over 20, and holy heck, it flies when you rack the boost up. But look, I'm looking for longevity out of that engine. So, you know, I'm just running it nice and mild at the moment, but it's still, you can overtake on the highway. So once you can do that in a diesel truck, I think it goes like the clappers. All right, second question. This is Danny Harvey 12. What's the top 5 essentials you'd pack for every trip? Okay, number one, I'm gonna say a toolkit. Now, it's essential I have a full range of tools and ideally spare parts. I've got nearly every hand tool you can think of, and there's a few in there that I think is worth a mention. A pair of circlip pliers. Now that's great if you've ever tried doing a CV in the bush. Circlip pliers, don't forget them. Here's another one you won't think of, tyre levers. Now, not to change tyres necessarily, because I find it just so useful. You always need to pry something, whether it be an alternator to get a belt undone or something like that. A tyre iron is a great thing to have in your toolkit. Basically a full list of hand tools, big hammers. You know, I always find if you can't fix it with a hammer, the fault's probably electrical anyway, so then you use a bit of 12-volt stuff. Number two, maybe a head torch. So of course the reason why you need a head torch is pretty self-explanatory really. So you can see in the dark. We eat our dinner under head torches, but also if you need to get under the vehicle at night time, you might be doing a night run or something, you've got a mechanical issue, head torch is just so handy to have in my opinion. So look, actually, if you don't have a USB one like this Nebo one here, grab your head torch and strap it around the headrest of your passenger seat. That's what I usually do on most of my vehicles, so I know I've always got a head torch in the vehicle. Third most important thing to carry, a fishing rod. Now, this is probably quite specific to me, but I'll nearly always have a fishing rod and a bunch of lures in the back of the vehicle. Now, if you're like a spin reel about a 2,000 size to about a 4,000 size, a few lures so you can cover everything from bass to barra. That way you've got yourself covered. We sometimes find during our forward action shoots, we have a little bit of downtime, not much. While the guys are setting up a camera shot or something like that, I can grab the rod out if I'm near water, run down, have a quick flick, and you know, get 4 or 5 casts in quickly, and when they start yelling at me, quickly run back to the vehicle and obviously start doing my job.
Some people go by times of day when they can eat, sleep, all those basic things, which you know, it's about when we can fish.
Yeah, definitely carry a fishing rod with you. Number 4, sounds silly, but it's a little thing of vanilla essence. Now, I always carry this in every single one of my vehicles in the fridge. You always find it in there because vanilla essence will mask bad smells. Now, there's been so many times where you've left a few things in the fridge from the last trip. You get to the first day of the shoot and you open up the fridge and you get a bit sick because I can't really handle bad smells. And a little bit of vanilla essence inside, if you can actually do it at the end of a trip when you've cleaned your fridge out, get a bit of paper towel, put some vanilla essence in your fridge, it'll be smelling like roses, well, like vanilla anyway, next time you go to use it. Now, speaking of bad smells in fridges, I've got to share a little story with you. Now, Graham would probably be really upset if I shared this in front of, I don't know, 500,000 people out on YouTube, but you've got to hear it because it is quite funny. Now, we recently did a shoot up in the Glasshouse Mountains, a bit further north actually, near Imble, Kenilworth. You might have seen it. Anyway, at the end of that show, Graham, he leaves the D-Max at Custom RV, one of the workshops you'll find most of our vehicles there in between trips actually. And inside that fridge, he left sausages, he left eggs, he left ham, he left milk, he left nearly every sort of perishable you could think of, and decided to go back to WA for 2 weeks. Well, when he got back, it was nearly a throw the fridge in the bin exercise because the smell was that bad. Poor George, it was the apprentice down at Custom RV, he had to clean it out. He had the great job of doing that after 2 weeks sitting in the sun. It makes me sick just thinking about it. So vanilla essence is very handy. It's the only thing that can get the smell out of that fridge. So if it works on Graham's fridge, it'll work on anyone's fridge. Okay, last but not least, of course, and I think it's really essential for every four-wheel driver out there, is a good quality recovery kit. Never leave home without one of those, or else you can get quite embarrassed if you get stuck by yourself and you don't even have a recovery kit if someone even drives up to help you. So always pack your recovery kit. Okay, next question. Goes _ all right. You must drive a Toyota. What's the bet? What was the first four-wheel drive and what were the first mods you put on it? So the first four-wheel drive I owned, that's a good question. I haven't owned that many four-wheel drives, to be honest, because I'm one of those sort of collectors. Once I sort of get a four-wheel drive, it's pretty rare I'm going to sell it. But the first one I did sell because I needed cash to get into the next one, of course. It was a Suzuki Sierra. Those guys in the US, you call them a Suzuki Samurai, I think. Anyway, I was completely obsessed by that vehicle. Still am today. I love Zooks. And anyone who's ever driven a Zook, you'll know exactly what I mean. I reckon it is the most fun you can have with your pants on. It's just the ultimate four-wheel drive for learning how to four-wheel drive, if that makes sense. The first real mod I did to that vehicle were a bunch of silly ones. The best mod I ever did to that vehicle was I put reduction gears in it because I put bigger tyres on it. The reduction gears just changed it to an animal off-road. It was insane. So just get the gearing right. That was something I never understood before, but it made all the difference in that little Zoom. All right, Nick.Cleaver. You've got to choose one of your four-wheel drives to drive for the rest of your life and you can't touch the other two. What do you choose? Wow, some good questions. Okay, it's pretty easy. I'm gonna pick the Dirty 30. Now that vehicle, I love 60 Series, the body, and what I'm doing with that vehicle, you haven't seen it, we've got the build-up on YouTube at the moment. It's an ongoing process, I haven't finished it just yet, but let me say, it's going to be the ultimate four-wheel drive. In my opinion, there's no other four-wheel drive out there that'll be better than it, because I built this for me, and it's just what I think is the ultimate. So, Dirty 30, hands down. Next question, it's Keenan_Welsh. Now, Keenan, jump onto the Snatch website, mate, because you've just won yourself a t-shirt of your choice. Right, here's your question though. What kind of maintenance and upkeep do you guys have to do on these trucks after each trip and before the next one? Okay, well, in short, a heck of a lot. You see, what we put our four-wheel drives through is, you've seen it, you've seen the videos hopefully, it's insane, but what you see is a 45 to an hour sort of long production. That's usually 4 to 5 days worth of absolute torture on the vehicle. We don't show everything because we can't show 5 days worth of footage. And then typically we shoot 2 shows at once. So we're out in the bush for a couple of weeks at a time. So we put our vehicles through absolute heck and back every single time. With the D-Max we don't have to do that much. It's just oil change, filter change, like every 5,000. They suggest 10,000 on the service manual, I think, with those common rails. We do it like every 5,000. All my vehicles, every 5,000 oils and filters get changed. But probably every 5 to 10,000 I'm doing bearings on the vehicle. The problem is when you run 35s, bigger tyres, a little bit bigger offset and stuff like that, and you're doing the tracks we're doing, it puts a lot of pressure on your bearings. So we strip them down to the knuckle probably every sort of 20,000 Ks and do all the kingpin bearings as well. Basically go through the vehicle, just a good inspection to make sure, see what's bugged, like if the uni's bugged, you know, fix it before it becomes a real issue. So a heck of a lot of maintenance is a short answer to that one. All right, ZGQ 4x4. That's probably the last of the good questions. The old Nissan driver's jumped in. What has he got to say? ZGQ 4x4, you've won yourself a shirt, mate, so well done. What is the most challenging situation you've been in while out four-wheel driving? The number one memory that you'll never forget because of how bad it was. Okay, I've got one. Now, this was never filmed, so you've never seen this before, but there was one time, it was actually not long after I got my 80 series, I went to a private property to do a little bit of hunting, a bit of camping out in this private property, and it was out sort of west of Inverell in some black soil country, and I got my 80 bogged. And when I say bogged, I got it so bogged, it was bogged for 3 days, and I actually thought I was going to lose my vehicle. Dylan, mate, if you're watching, my mate who was with me, that's something that we both will never forget. Let's go through the 3 days of being stuck and how I nearly lost the vehicle. Day one. Now, the first thing in day one, I'm driving along a dam bed. Now, that was a stupid idea, but as they say, you have perfect vision in hindsight. I'm driving along this side of this dam, and everywhere's been real squishy. So I'm in two-wheel drive, and it's a little bit of a bog hole, and I thought, it looks like that deep. So I just cruise along. I'm in two-wheel drive still. I start to go down. I'm like, oh, don't worry, Dylan. I got this, mate. Pro four-wheel drive over here, lock the old hubs in and gas it, and I just sink straight down to the chassis. I'm like, bugger. Don't worry, Dylan, I've got a winch, mate. I'll just winch myself out. Now, it was pretty open country if you've ever been out to some of that black soil country, and there was one gum tree. It was on my right-hand side. It was not an ideal spot to winch from. I was sort of on a bit of an angle, but I thought, quick winch. This will all be done and dusted in about 10 minutes. Get the recovery gear out. Winch goes out around that gum tree. Start winching. There's a lot of strain on this winch. I am so stuck, and I'm like, holy heck, and then bang, the winch rope snaps. I'm like, bugger. Don't worry. Old, Bodie Shauno here knows a few knots. He ties a couple of knots into this rope, gets it back together, winches again, winch rope breaks again. I broke the winch rope 10 times, no joke. I'm nearly out of winch rope, and then I pulled the gum tree out. So it's a gum tree, it's a good sized gum tree. It's come out. So that's my last thing to winch off, and I'm thinking, oh bugger. So it's now getting dark. We've been at it nearly. It was about lunchtime when it happened. I've been at it for hours now. It's just getting dark. I think bugger. So we had to do the walk of shame back to the farm homestead. Anyway, the next day, when we told the farmer what had happened, she was generous enough to give us a tractor to use that the next day. Now, it's a 10-ton tractor. Problem was I didn't really know how to drive a tractor, so anyway, no one was going to do it for me. We had to learn how to drive a tractor real quick. It's not that hard, turns out. If you can drive a dirty 30, you can drive a tractor. Pretty much the same thing. So I'm driving the tractor back, and I thought, heck, the thing has got a 28-ton snatch strap. Now, that's earth-moving sort of stuff. This is going to be so easy. We'll be back on the tracks before you can absolutely know about it. Anyway, I go to snatch this thing. I'll give it a little bit. It's a 100 horsepower tractor, 10-ton tractor. Give it a fair bit. I come to an abrupt halt in the tractor. I thought, holy heck, this thing's stuck. We knew that, but it hasn't got any easier. I thought the tractor would just pull it out in 2 seconds. Anyway, it didn't. I gave it about 4 or 5 more goes and at a different angle, and the problem was the ground is really wet, so it starts bogging down as well. Then the unthinkable happens. The tractor gets bogged. So now I'm the biggest goose in the Channel Country. There's no bigger idiot with a four-wheel drive than yours truly. I think, what am I going to do? I've just got the farmer's tractor bogged. I've got the 80 series, obviously hasn't even moved an inch yet, and I've just made anywhere around the 80 fully muddy and all cut up now, so that's fantastic. Anyway, by this stage, my mate Dylan, he's white in the face, he's nearly sick, he's a bit nervous, he's thinking, how the heck are we going to get out of this? I'm like, holy heck, I've got a chainsaw, I've got a great idea, I've got a chainsaw in the back of the sooty. What the heck are you going to use a chainsaw for? Well, there's another tree, I went down and cut a tree down, and I used the bucket of the tractor to actually lift the front of the tractor up, and when the front tyres were in the air, I used some trees that I'd cut down and chucked them under to lift the vehicle up, the tractor out. Anyway, I managed to unbog the tractor. That took probably 4 or 5 hours, and then we just dug for the rest of that day. So day 2, we haven't got the vehicle even an inch forward. I needed help, so I actually put a call out. This is a bit embarrassing, but I put a call out, a bit of an SOS on Facebook or social media. Anyway, and lots of people wanted to help. There was so many people, and bless them. They came down and thought, yeah, I'm in the Triton Club. I'll get my mates. No four-wheel drive is going to get this 80 out. Trust me, I would have got it out if it was, even thinkable about, getting a four-wheel drive to get this vehicle out. No snatch on earth could get. If a 10-ton tractor can't do it, no four-wheel drive is going to get it out. Anyway, this fella, he's a local fella, Josh. Anyway, he owns an earth-moving company. He has a 30-ton excavator on standby, and he goes, look, I'll come down first and check it out, and before I worry about getting this big excavator down here, but we'll get it out, don't worry about that. So he gets there in the morning, he rolls up in his 79 series cruiser. He didn't look that bogged, you see, and he looks at it and goes, he goes, mate, we'll just put a snatch strap on the cruiser and we'll tow it out. I said, all due respect, I've been at it for 2 days, it's not budging. He's like, look, let me just try. Puts a snatch strap on it, and you're thinking he's going to pull it out first go, right? No chance. He came to an abrupt halt and went, holy heck, that thing's stuck. Anyway, so I told him the idea. I just wasn't good enough tractor driver to actually pull this off. And I said, look, this is how I got the tractor out. By lifting the front tyres up and putting logs under it, I was able to get the tractor out. What if we did that on the 80? Yeah, brilliant idea. But I told him I can't drive the tractor to save myself. So anyway, he's a weapon. The bucket on this tractor can lift up 2 tonne, right, in a direct pull. So it can lift a fair bit. So we've got a big chain. We go up with the bucket right to the front. I put a chain on the chassis rail of Sooty on one side, and we start trying to just lift it, and the suction was so intense around that vehicle that all these bubbles were popping up from the mud. The tractor's bucking like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, something's going to give here. Luckily, the suction broke on the 80 and one tyre sort of came up in the air. We got some logs that we used for the tractor, chucked it under that tyre, did the same with the other one, got the front of the vehicle up. Holy heck. And then it was about 4 or 5 very spirited snatches with the 28 tonne snatch trap, and old Sooty was out. How good's that? So that's a time I really thought it was all pear-shaped and I was going to lose my vehicle. So that was a little bit of a long-winded answer to that question, but it was a great question, and it's a behind-the-scenes story that I think everyone should know. Look, it happens to the best of us. You know, if you're worried about getting stuck, stay indoors. I mean, that's part of being a forward driver. Look, I suggest you don't go into black soil country in the wet. That was stupid, but heck, it was a funny story now, after the fact, because now it seems funny. At the time, it wasn't funny at all. Next question, hey? And look, that question was so good. I'm going to chuck you a camo hoodie. So you're going to get a shirt of your choice, plus a camo hoodie. Bates Nick 87. In your free time, what's your favourite four-wheel drive and camping location? Obviously, I camp for forward drive action the show a heck of a lot. I probably spend 5 to 6 months outdoors, and I get to see a lot of great places. The beauty about that is I get to know what places I want to come back to. So look, sometimes what I'll actually do is fly the missus in to where I might be, and I'll get to do an epic trip and not pay to get my vehicle there, if that makes sense. So one time we did the Kimberley, because we just did the Kimberley on a show, and I had my vehicle up there in Catherine at the time, so got the missus up and we did a 2-week holiday. It was our best ever holiday, ever. And we went through the Kimberleys for another 2 weeks on our own bat, and it's just so much. You know, filming's great. It's the best job any bloke could ever ask for, but when you're on your own and there's no cameras, holy heck, you know, it's fun as can be. Keegan Williams, why didn't you go a V8 in the new Dirty 30? Now, as you probably know, I went for a 1HD FTE. That, in my opinion, is one of the best engines that's ever come out of Toyota / ever come out of a four-wheel drive. That turbo diesel engine is amazing. I say that because they make a lot of power. They can be tuned to make a heck of a lot more power, and they're just uber reliable. You can't kill those engines. The perfect fit as well for the Dirty 30 because it's on an 80 series chassis, so it literally bolts right up. They use the same block as a 1HZ, same block as like a 1HDT, so it bolted straight up. It's the perfect one, in my opinion, for that sort of vehicle, and I've always wanted to own one, to be honest. I've never owned a 1HD FTE. I could never afford one, to be honest with you. They're pretty sought after. _James_Walker, the most insane bush mechanic fix you've ever done. I love bush mechanic fixes, and I reckon, far out, that's what makes us forward drive action, I think, because it's very rare that we'll ever need a tow truck. Now, you know, we're not mechanics, believe it or not. I'm not a mechanic by trade, neither is Graham, you've probably guessed that by now. And we just know our way around a four-wheel drive in a dodgy sort of way, just enough to get ourselves out of strife. Now, so many fixes we've had to do where we've had to think outside the square. I'll tell you a couple just happened recently. One, I was driving in Cape York. Okay, this is one of the times where my vehicle actually went home on a tow truck. Anyway, couldn't fix that. So I was driving the camera vehicle, and anyway, just finished the shoot. It had been an epic one. I'd been up in the bush for about 4 weeks. Just before I jumped in the vehicle, I always like to know what tools I've got in the vehicle because, you know, you never know. You're lucky out in the bush sometimes, and luckily I did because there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. Not even enough tools to change a tyre. So I thought, bugger this. And I raided some of Graham's tools because my vehicle's already gone. And I luckily found, he only had one socket set and he had a different size wheel nut than I had in the Patrol. So I grabbed, I think it was a 21, I grabbed a 21-inch socket, a breaker bar, and I had a jack. That's the only tools I had with me. I thought, okay, I'll be sweet. If I need to change a tyre, I can change a tyre. Anything else, I'm absolutely buggered. Anyway, I'm driving down the PDR. I'm doing about 80 k's an hour or something like that. Cruising down this beautiful dirt road, and all of a sudden the vehicle just starts steering heavily towards the bush, and no matter how far I turn the steering, I'm aiming straight off the side of the track. Now, it's a bit harrowing when you're doing 80 Ks and you just get speared off the PDR. Anyway, I come to an abrupt stop on the side of this bank, full of bull dust, no steering, and I thought, sugar, I've just done a tyre, right? So when I had a look at the tyre, of course the tyre was flat, but a little bit more sinister than that was that the steering arm was also let go. Now, it was one of those panhard rods actually, and it's adjustable. What happened is it actually came out of the thread split on it, and so it just came out and actually pierced the tyre, took the sidewall out of the tyre. So here I am on the side of the PDR with about 3 tools to my name, 4 including the photographer that was with me. No, just jokes. But anyway, look, I had nothing, and I thought, bugger this, it's a late afternoon, and the worst thing about it is I'm about 60 Ks out of Bramwell Junction. Now, Bramwell Station. Now, if you know Bramwell Station, 5 o'clock, they ring the bell, it's happy hour, beers are like $5. I thought, heck, I've been in the bush for a while, pretty keen to get to happy hour. And I thought, I'm never going to make it. I'm going to have to camp on the side of the road. It's a really crappy spot too. It's on the side of it, this hill around the corner in thick bull dust. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get out of this? Anyway, what I ended up doing, long story short, is there's a bunch of swags on the roof and they had ratchet straps. So I grabbed a couple of ratchet straps and I put the thread back together, ratchet strap around both ends of the old panhard, kept it together, and the steering arm, and then held the steering arm together with a couple of more straps, changed the tyre, did about 40 Ks an hour on the PDR, every corner I did, because if I took it really sharp, it'd just all fall apart. So I had to take really wide corners. Luckily there's only about 4 or 5 corners between there and Bramwell. I made it to Bramwell Station at 5:05 PM, just in time for happy hour. Couldn't have been more happy in my life. I reckon that's one of the best bush mechanic fixes I've ever done. Actually, come to think of it, if you've done a better bush mechanic fix or any bush mechanic fix, put in the comments below, because bush mechanic fixes are one of those really fun things I like to go through. It gives me ideas, because chances are, whatever you put down below, I'll probably need to borrow that idea at some stage. Now, next question, but before I do that, I'm just going to pour myself another beer. Hang 2 secs. All right, next question. Here we go, Kane.Finlay. For first forward drivers, what track should I start looking at to learn on? Now, that's a good question. So many people getting into the four-wheel drive game, and I think that's fantastic. More the barrier, in my opinion. It's such a great, lifestyle. Really, it's not just a hobby; it's a full-on lifestyle. So, first tracks, look, don't go out in the hardest ones. You're not there to break stuff. That could really put you off four-wheel driving. I reckon beach driving is the go. Even just fire trails and beaches, just to start to cut your teeth on four-wheel driving, to get out there in the bush and see what it's all about. Go camping. Chuck the swags in or however you do it, and just go and enjoy the great outdoors. Build up from there, just start doing a few little bits and pieces. I think you need to start off on beaches and just dirt roads, just begin with and start to step it up. Don't go too extreme. You're just going to break something and think, it's too expensive to go four-wheel driving. It doesn't have to be expensive at all. So congratulations and welcome to the four-wheel drive club, hey? Bales_1998. The one upgrade you've done that's made trips so much easier. Okay, a rear locker in the 80 has changed the game. Any locker in any vehicle just transforms the vehicle, what it's like off-road. So a locker really is one of those mods that's going to get you further off the beaten track. I think that's been a game changer. The other thing, of course, if we go back a step, a winch. These days, winches are so affordable. Just get one. There's no excuses not to have a winch on your vehicle. I think if you're keen, if you love four-wheel driving, you want to get out there, even if you don't like doing tough tracks, a winch, you can absolutely save your bacon. So I think that's a great mod to have as well. All right, next question. Here we go. The Mighty Lux. The Mighty Lux. What's the one thing you wish you knew about four-wheel driving as a beginner that you know now? Well, I sort of touched on it with one of those earlier questions about my Suzuki Sierra, picking the wrong mods. I'm going to tackle the whole issue of just picking mods for your four-wheel drive. Now, one of the things a lot of four-wheel drivers, myself included, is you get this opinion in your head that you need a heck of a lot of mods to get out and four-wheel drive. Well, you don't. One of the biggest things I hate to see is people spending all their money on mods and not actually using their four-wheel drive and putting off the trip of a lifetime because they don't have twin lockers, they don't have a 4-inch lift, they don't have everything that opens and shuts in one of those fancy four-wheel drive catalogues. Just get out there and do those trips. And then when you get back from Cape York and go, far out, would have been nice to have a fridge on that trip. Well, let's save up and buy a fridge for the next one. You know, just get out there. I'd rather have the memories about the adventures I've done than about how awesome my vehicle looks, but I haven't actually taken it anywhere. You sort of know what I mean? Here we go. This is fun. I enjoyed this. This is fantastic. And like, it goes without saying, guys, this is a two-way street, this YouTube channel. This is so cool about YouTube. You can ask questions right in the comments below and I can get on there and answer them. It's fantastic. There's two-way communication and it's an exciting time for any type of media, but four-wheel drive action especially, because we really take note of what you guys are saying. So keep up the commenting and trust me, we all get on there and read all the comments and stuff like that. So, you know, while we might not get through 1,000 comments on the end of our page, make sure you always comment, because I guarantee we'll read it, that's for sure. Okay, now I've got to run through a heap of questions. I think there's another 10 questions. I've got to try and get through them in a minute. Now, that almost seems impossible. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm just going to read them out. I haven't even read these questions, so I don't know the answers just yet. And we'll try and get through them as fast as I can and just quick answers. So unfortunately, you guys don't win a prize, but we're going to answer these questions because I think there's a few funny ones. I can see them right here. So let's put the beer down and just get into it. Righto. First one, how close is the Dirty 30 to being completed, and how long until we see it on an episode? I reckon it's about 6 weeks from being fully completed, and you'll see it on an episode. As soon as it's done, I'm taking it straight to an episode. So this year, you'll definitely see it on YouTube in all its glory. How exciting. I'm bloody excited, let me tell you that. If you had $1 million to spend on any car, how many LandCruisers would you buy? All of them. All of the LandCruisers. No, to be honest with you, a 45 series LandCruiser, or 47, HJ or the BJ47, that one with the 2H engine, that old LandCruiser ute. If I could rebuild one of those, holy heck. If Graham listens to Taylor Swift, and he does, who is your go-to artist on a trip? Cold Chisel. Is there any other band, really? How many kilometres do you rack up each year doing four-wheel drive action? I reckon in a combination of all three vehicles, I'd probably do between 70,000 and 100,000 kilometres. Yeah, we drive a heck of a lot, Would you ever buy a car that's not a Toyota? Maybe a Hilux. Rooftop tent or swag? Oh, horses for courses. I've been loving the rooftop tent. If I had to choose one, swag. I love swags. Has Graham ever shouted you beers while camping? Let's just put it this way. He owes me so many beers he could probably never repay him in his lifetime. The dumbest thing you've ever done on camera? Probably on the Fraser Island trip. I got this new cooker I was really excited about, and it was a cast iron one. I put it on a plastic table, started cooking, had a few beers, and it melted through the table. I looked like a real idiot in front of the camera, but that's just one of many. There's in every trip there's bound to be a few of those sort of episodes. What's the worst smell you've ever encountered on a four-wheel drive action trip? I was going to say, and you guys are probably thinking a bog hole. There's one in Tasmania that rings a few bells. There's one in Cape York actually recently that was horrid, but nothing will beat the smell of the camera car after 4 weeks out in the bush. 3 blokes in that GU. Holy heck. All right, and the last question, when are you going to admit that you're savagely allergic to seafood? By Graham Cahill. Well, mate, I'm not allergic to seafood. I love seafood. Okay, I've had a few issues with crabs, but let's face it, who hasn't? They get a little bit itchy. Oh, in the throat I'm talking about. I get a bit itchy from the crabs in the throat when I get a bit of shell in there. Love seafood. Thank you guys for those questions. That was epic, and I hope you learned a little bit behind the scenes what actually happens on a four-wheel action trip. Now remember, four-wheel action is your channel. That's right, we do it for you guys, and we love doing it. We've got one of the best jobs, if you can call it a job, in the whole wide world. This is what I grew up to dream of doing, you know, and I'm actually doing it. I'm living my dream right now. So, you know, I want to thank you guys for supporting the Four-Wheel Action channel on YouTube. We love being on YouTube. I just love the fact that you guys can comment right now, give us a thumbs up right now, and we're in instant interaction with you guys. It's a two-way street. It's not, you know, one-dimensional. This is fantastic. We like to think we're taking you guys along for the journey. So thanks again for asking all those questions. I did read through all of them, all 1,000 questions that were posted, and there's some absolute crackers in there. So keep commenting as well, because we always go through the comments. And I want to say a big thank you for tuning in to Four-Wheel Action. I'm not done yet. I'm going to go back into the shed and try and get the Dirty 30 on the road, because that's what you guys are really wanting, and trust me when I say this, it's not too far off. So keep your eyes peeled on this YouTube channel, because every update is going to be right here. So thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on Four-Wheel Action.